What is happening, y'all? We are back at it again with another video called The Most Valuable 40 Minutes You'll Spend This Year with Hormozi and Mr. Williamson. So, let's get this video off to a start. Leave a like and save to come back to this video. Subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you can always know whenever I post. And I'll see you guys within this video. I just gotta go take a leak, so I'm going to pause this and then we will get into the video. So just give me a few minutes. For you, it'll be 1 second, but for me, it'll be a few minutes. So I'll see you guys here soon, and let's get into this. What's up? I am back. We're back at it again, so let's get this off to a start.
Broke my brain with this one. Everyone is jealous of what you've got. No one is jealous of how you got it.
First of all, we have issues with the speakers, which this is already really good. I'm really enjoying this. So everyone is jealous of what you got. No one is jealous of how you got it. Because they don't see the training, they see the trophies, they see everything. Or they don't see the training, they only see the trophies and the up part of the mountain. So knowing that nobody is jealous of what you got, or everyone is jealous of what you got, no one is jealous of how you got it. You don't see the training ground, you don't see the climb up to the mountain, you don't see any of that. So let's continue.
I love that quote.
My God. People see the trophies, but not the training ground.
Everybody wants the view, but no one wants the climb.
Everybody wants the view, but nobody wants the climb up to the top. The climb where you're swimming in the shark's den, where the sharks eat, and when they eat, that is what everybody wants. They don't want to swim with the sharks because there's less food in the ocean, because sharks see food as trophies. Okay? Makes sense?
I love it.
A friendly reminder that in 3 generations, everyone who knew us will be dead.
Within 3 generations, everyone who knew us will be dead. So don't let don't let their opinion, don't let their criticism, don't let their idea change the vision of the dream of the business, of the content, of whatever it is you're dreaming of. Okay? Because if you let them dictate that, then you might never know what will happen within 3 generations, because people are measuring in days and months, but you are measuring in years. Okay? So don't allow other people to destroy yourself just to get one thing.
Including the people whose opinions stopped you from doing what you wanted all along. Imagine that someone you know achieves every dream and hits every goal they have. Years later, they get old and die. 2 years after that, how much do you care? About as much as everyone else will if you accomplish your goals and dreams.
Because when you've forgotten in 3 generations, nobody will remember you. Nobody will know your name. You'll just be a picture on somebody else's wall. So make this dream, make this version, make this thing actually fucking happen. Because if not, then you may never know where this life will lead you to.
Do it for you.
When I wake up every day, there's only one voice I have to listen to. It doesn't matter whether I achieve all of my goals or I don't achieve all of the goals. In 3 generations, I'll be forgotten, and the only people who were naysaying.
Within 3 generations, you'll be forgotten, which means they'll be naysaying it for you to achieve, to do, to think, to act. Okay?
Against me will also be dead.
And everybody that would be negating or negating or delecting or selecting criticism will be dead. So you don't care about their opinion, you don't care about the vision, you don't care about their perspective of how they see vision being. Understood?
And so then it's like, just do it for me. The reason the goal isn't coming at you fast enough.
The reason why the goal isn't coming at you fast enough is because you're not trying hard enough. You're not doing more. You're not doing the extra mile. Okay? Do more, become more, content more, do more. Understood?
Is because every person you've seen accomplish the goal, you only see it the moment they accomplish it.
Because when you see an accomplished goal, you only see the moment when they accomplish it, when they hit it, when they do more, when they say more, when they are more. Okay?
And the reason that it hurts so much when people are like, must be nice, oh, that happened overnight, is because every time you fail, no one cares and no one sees.
Every time you fail, because no one cares and nobody sees the training ground. Nobody sees the shark stand of them getting no food. Okay? So when you starve, you fucking starve. When you do content, you do fucking content. You do the version of yourself that you are trying to become and not negate.
But when you finally win, people take notice.
Discredited.
But it's the only time they notice is when you actually win. And so to even further reinforce the point,
reinforce the point is that when you actually win, you fucking win. And when you lose and fail, you fucking fail. Okay?
the fact that everyone looks like an overnight success means that the 10 years where they sucked,
everybody seems like that's an overnight success, but the 10 years that when you sucked, nobody saw, nobody noticed, nobody did more because they were afraid of your own opinion and the criticism and the advice that you will give, okay?
no one saw. And so the fear that you have about people noticing the fact that you fail is ridiculous because they're barely going to notice when you succeed.
And now people say, it must be nice for you. And you go, dude, you. Like, if you could have seen how much criticism and
How much criticism, how much mental effort, how much identity shifts and mindset shifts you had to go through. Nobody sees that. Which means you must not stop. You must continually on pushing the ball forward. Because if you stop, that is when your business dies and that is when your YouTube channel dies. Okay? So don't stop.
hard work and lonely nights and all of this stuff when nobody was watching and I was unsure of myself, chronically miserable, and I criticized and all my friends took the piss out of me and I did all of these things. I had to go through all of that for you to now say, must be nice.
I'd say one of the strongest mental frames that has gotten me through my hardest times is thinking this will be the story that I will one day tell.
One of my hardest times is thinking that this will be the story that I will one day tell. And through this story, through this perspective, through this identity, that is where nobody sees the training ground. They only see the climb. Or no, they don't see the climb or the training ground. They only see the trophies and the top of the mountain, okay? This will be the story that you will one day tell because you are trying to learn more, you're trying to do more, you're trying to become more, you're trying to achieve the more within success.
And that means the harder it is, the bigger the dragon, the more epic the story.
And more epic the story, the bigger the dragon, the more fear that you feel within inside of you because you don't want to fail. You want to succeed. You want the effort, but you also don't want the consistency. Which means you have to put more effort and consistent action into the thing that you are building. Okay?
And by consequence, the more epic the hero. And
by consequence, more epic the hero means more epic the story that you will one day tell. If this is the story that we will one day tell, then what is the hero? What is the dream? What is the vision of whatever it is you are doing? Okay? Keep that in mind when you're thinking about dreams, goals, and realities. Okay?
And if you think about the difference between winners and losers, winners define themselves by what they made happen, and losers define themselves.
Winners define themselves by what made happen. Okay? What made you happy? What made you sad? What made you depressed? What made you anxious? What made you more like the loser that you are going to one day tell? Okay?
By what happened to them.
Losers define themselves by what happened to them. Because if they don't understand what happened to them, then they may never know what that next story will be or that next video will be. Okay?
And the difficult part of the lonely chapter is that the Rocky cutscene lasts 90 seconds in the movie and lasts 5 years in reality.
With no promise of it ever ending. No guarantee of glory.
And the only certainty that I can give you is that it's the same thing that every other mouse, every other person who got through that period went through. And you won't die. And if you do die, you won't care because you'll be dead. Best case, you win. Worst case, it won't matter. And I promise you.
Best case, the win. Worst case, it doesn't fucking matter. Because when it doesn't fucking matter, then what is the point that you are trying to obtain, perceive, do, think, act? Okay? Do more because you want to become more. Okay?
Every single person who wants to do something with their life and has done something with their life has gone through the exact chapter that you're going through. And it's the lonely chapter.
And through this lonely chapter, you change your friends, you change your outputs, you change your inputs because you know you want to be more. And you want to become like the story that you will one day tell. Okay?
It's the chapter where you don't fit in with your own friends, but you don't have the outcomes yet to fit into a new group of friends. And you're doing this thing, you're consuming content on the internet, you're doing these free tutorials online to try and figure out how to set up a podcast and where do I host this thing? And then and you're going through this and you're like, is this even worth it? Because you have no signs of success, right? But if there's anything that you can take away from what we're saying right now is that the sign of success is the hate that you get along the way.
The sign of success is the hate you get along the way. So don't bend the knee to their own standards, their own perspectives, their own beliefs, and don't pack the conformity snowball to bend in their own will. Okay? Make sense?
And what you can't do is bend the knee to their hate and fit back into the conformity because it's comfortable and it's warm. Because, like in The Matrix, when Trinity opens the door, when Neo's about to go take the red pill, and he wants to get out of the car, she says, Neo, you've been down that road, and you know exactly where it leads, and I know that's not where you want to be. And then he closes the door. Like right now, this moment that you're going through is Trinity opening the door and being like, you could go back, but then you'd have to remember exactly what the reason was that you decided not to go out to begin with, just because you listen to this podcast and you consume this content, and you're like, I can do more than this.
Reminder that if you want to be exceptional, you're going to be different from everyone else. That's what makes you exceptional.
You're going to be different from everybody else. That's what makes you the exception. And once you know that you are the exception, then that means you're going to be different from everybody else, which is fine. Which means if it's easy for you and hard for others, then you may never know where this life will lead you to. Because you're not consistent. You're not with the plan. You're not with the vision of where it is your life will be going to.
You can't fit in and also be exceptional. Both have discomfort. When you fit in, you have internal conflict.
When you fit in, you have internal conflict, because without the internal conflict, then you may never know where this life will lead you to.
Because you're not being 100% you.
Because you're not being 100% you, so you know with what you are trying to achieve, do more, think, act, because you want to be more. Okay, and when you want to be more, that is when you know you should be more. So don't allow others to disrespect you, disrespect criticism, and take their advice for what it is. Take their advice with a grain of salt. If they see that you're not going to get anywhere, then who really cares? You see the dream, you see the version, you see the disrespect that you are getting. So don't listen to them, because you're tracking in decades and not years. Okay?
When you're exceptional, you have external conflict because everyone sees you as different.
And when everybody sees you as different, then you... Hold on. Because everybody sees you as different, so pick a poison, pick a route, pick a thing to make you be the exception.
Take one. When your friends start to say, you've changed.
They don't know how to say that you've grown. Okay? He's gonna state that because I already know.
Remember, it's because they don't know how to say, you've grown.
I'm saying this because I used to think that there was something wrong with me, when in reality, I just didn't understand what the nature of being exceptional meant. And so I'm saying this purely from a definitional perspective. To be exceptional means that you are the exception. It means that you are not normal. And so it's normal for normal people to find you abnormal if you do things that are not normal. Don't let people who have mediocre goals deter you from...
Don't let people who have mediocre goals deter you to see the vision, to build the job, to build the business. Because nobody sees the training ground. Nobody sees the shark stand where they fucking eat. You only see where they eat and the mountain. They don't see the climb. They only see the top peak of the mountain. Okay? Which means if you are the exception, that means that you are different than everybody else. You are different than what you are truly trying to unlock, say, do, think, and believe. Okay?
taking actions that make you great because it makes you different.
Controversial take. You really can solve a lot of male problems by getting in shape and making money. You still have problems. They're just smaller and you have more resources to handle them. We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching.
We don't fall to the standards of when others are watching. We fall to the standards when no one is watching. Okay? We have standards. We have dreams. We have goals. So make sure that they're all within our standards. Okay?
Watching. The only work that really matters is the work that no one sees. It shows you who you really are rather than who you say you are. The world is there for the taking for anyone who can learn from their mistakes, do what they say they were going to do, and stick with it. What used to make a man acceptable now makes you extraordinary. The bar for winning has never been so low.
And when the bar is so low, then you may never know where this life will lead you to, which is the best part about the unknown and the void. And being exceptional is because the bar has never been this low. Okay?
If you think back to college, when you were a freshman, you think, wow, this is so hard or whatever. And then by the time you're a senior, you're like, man, these kids are so soft. And so we remember things as harder than they were. But I also think that there is
we remember things as harder than what they were. Without the struggle, without the pain, without the difficulty of it being hard, then we may never know with what soft feels like. Because we were soft at one point, which made us harder, which made our blade sharpener. When iron sharpens iron, blades sharpen blades. Okay?
thread of reality, which is that the younger generation is softer. And I think we are softer than the generation above us. When I think about the guys who were storming Normandy, and I think about the people who would be attempting to do that now, as a class, I think that we are softer. And so the thing is that if you can barely decide to take any action at all and peel your eyes away from your phone for just a moment, it's so much easier to beat everyone else because most people are overweight, they're distracted, they're poor, they have so few skills because it has never been easier to start a business, to make money, to get in shape. It's just also never been easier to do nothing. And so in a world where it's never been easier to do nothing, doing something becomes extraordinary. And I'm telling you from the bottom of my soul, it is so easy to beat people today. They are so soft. They have no work ethic. No one can stick with anything. Everyone's distracted. They're on social media. They're kind of notifications because they can't stick with. They can't say no.
If you talk about work-life balance as a 22-year-old man, you're hanging around with the wrong people. That gnawing feeling when you realize you've outgrown your social circle isn't loneliness, it's your ambition finally speaking louder than your need to belong.
If you're 22 years old, like, the world does not hate you. You're just not good at anything yet. If you seek to be good at something, then you have a tremendous deficit.
You have a tremendous deficit to being unique to everybody else. When you want to be good at something, you must be different. And you have a tremendous deficit of you being different than others challenging your goals, dreams, and realities. Okay?
In experience and repetitions that people who are ahead of you or who have achieved what you want to achieve have over you. And so the only thing that you have now, you do have an advantage. You have a couple. Number one is that you will have more energy than they do, period. And so your ability to work long hours, sleep less, and maintain high levels of focus while maintaining peak fluid intelligence is at its peak. Use it. The second thing is that you have nothing to lose. And so the thing is
And when you have nothing left to lose, then you have nothing and everything more to gain. You have everything more to gain, you have nothing left to lose, which means if you fail, you will fail and you will fall harder on your face. Which is why you continue, and you continue, and you continue, okay?
people always fear being the new entrant. But when you have nothing to lose, or you have nothing going for you, it also means you have nothing to lose. And that means that every position on the board always has an advantage, because anybody who has achieved this big thing that you have was also once a 22-year-old who had nothing going for them.
And you're at zero.
Right.
You can't get worse than this.
You have unlimited shots on goal. And so not taking the shot is like saying, life, I don't want to scratch off this lottery ticket, but the lottery ticket's free. And so whatever reasons that we usually give ourselves in the beginning for why we can't achieve something, you can almost always find not only just someone, but someone who's achieved world-class levels of success with worse conditions than you currently have, which then means it's absolutely possible. And then the only thing that it takes to get there is work.
You don't have to feel good about it. You just have to keep going. The feeling will pass, but
You don't have to worry about it. You just have to keep on going. Because when we keep on going, we keep on pursuing, we keep on doing more because we want the dreams, we want the reality, we want the goals. But the only way for them to actually happen is to keep on persevering, to keep on going, to keep on living life to the fullest. Okay?
you will remain. You are greater than your feelings. Going to bed late and waking up early to work for a few days won't kill you. You're not going to burn out. You're doing what it takes. If you're one of those people that push work-life balance, just remember, the people who like working a lot don't care. I've never regretted trying harder at anything ever. Hard times last long, but an epic story feels like a lifetime. It just takes work. Loads and loads of work. Every time I try and dress it up or cut a corner, I get brutally reminded the work just needs doing. The work doesn't care who you are. It just cares that it gets done.
I think a hopeful message that anyone can think about who's in that hard period or in that start period is that it won't get harder.
It won't get harder. It'll get easier and easier because when you become more consistent, there is more time to know that you are doing with what you are trying to become. Okay?
Like, this is the hardest part. And so if you can just make it through this, everything else is downhill. It's not that the things that the dragons are going to slay aren't going to get bigger. They are. But you become so much more equipped to slay them back. And you have so many more allies. You have people in the stands cheering for you. You have the audience. You have all of these other things that are behind you. But at the beginning, it's just you with a stick against a bear. And arguably, that fight is a harder fight to win than beating a dragon when you have a nuclear bomb and 6 nations.
Hi. Hello? Right.
Hey, Will.
Oh, what'd you think? So good, wasn't it?
Yeah. Thanks for feeding her, walking her, and doing the rice, okay?
Hey. Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go get my aqua socks out of the car.
connections behind you. And so it's not even like the size of the hardship, it's just also the resources and how few of them you have, and how so much of the beginning is literally burning the one thing you have, which is time, because you have no leverage. You don't have the money to pay other people to help you.
You don't have the leverage, and you don't have other money to pay you, or to pay other people to help you, okay? When you have leverage, my definition of leverage is leverage equals volume times how much time it takes plus how many people you have doing the same thing, okay? That's what leverage is.
You don't have the resources to go like get someone no one can learn it for you. It's like there's a lot of the things that we care about a lot, like no one can work out for you. Doesn't matter how much money you have, no one can learn skills for you. And so in the early days, like it feels so painful because you're like, you look around to see who can help you, and then you're like, it's me again. Those early days, that little trench winning in the weeds.
Check this out. I'm going to show you how I afforded this car. Okay, you ready? All right, 118.
Oftentimes gives you these huge advantages later on because you have more context than anyone else. And so rather than lament them and hate the fact that you're going through it, remembering that these will be arrows that you put in the quiver that you're going to be using to slay the future bigger dragons.
And when you slay the future dragons and you know with what you how to handle them, how to react to them, how to do more effort than what is needed.
And so expecting it to be easy is what makes it much harder than it ever is.
Expecting it to be easy makes it much harder than what it truly is, because hard is difficult. Hard is not easy. Hard is the hard thing that you are trying to make hard.
Success is the only revenge. As you expand, they shrink into irrelevance.
Success is the only revenge. As you expand, they shrink into irrelevance because they don't see the vision, they don't see the dream, they don't see the goal, they don't see the action that is leading you to believe that thing, to do that thing, to do more than that thing.
As you get louder, no one can hear them. You don't beat them, you cast a shadow so big, no one can see them to begin with. When people copy, they copy the wrong stuff because they don't know why it worked to begin with. And when it breaks, they don't know how to fix it because they didn't build it. So don't sweat it. Copycats will always be behind.
So I was 15 years old. So this was really early in my life. I had this teacher. So I'm a freshman in high school, and I might have been 14, whatever the age is. And I'm walking through the hallway, and this teacher is like an admin of some kind, walks out of his office, and he's like, son. And I was like, I'm like, you're just in trouble. What am I gonna do? He's like, you work out? And I was like, no. He's like, why not? I was like, I don't know how. He's like, I'll show you. He's like, you got the genes. And so that teacher, Mr. Gibbons, ended up working out with me every day in high school and showed me how to work out. And he probably saw on some level that I was some angsty teenager that felt angry about whatever. And I, during our workout sessions, would be like, this guy said this to me, like, or like, this bull, whatever. And I was like, man, I'm gonna come back at our 10-year reunion, and I was like, I'm gonna show him. I was like, he's gonna be working for me, like blah, blah,
But
blah, right? And he's like, no, he's not. And I was like, what do you mean? I was like, let me just have my moment, right? He's like, no, he's not. He's like, and you're not gonna do that. Not if I have anything to say about it when you come back for the 10-year reunion. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, because if you come back at a 10-year reunion and say, hey, John, like everything I have, look at me now. He's like, the guy's gonna laugh and be like, you did all of this to try and prove me wrong? Man, I feel sorry for you. And when he said that, when he actually played out what my like revenge fantasy was in real life, I realized it looked stupid.
Petty.
Yeah.
it looks very stupid, very petty, very young in aged, not mentality there, you know?
I looked like the beta in the situation, right? Yeah. And so he was like, the only thing that you can do is win so big that all of them constantly compare themselves to you.
And when they constantly compare themselves to you, then you win. Then you beat them. Then you beat the dragon. You beat the person, okay? When they compare themselves to you. Because comparison is a thief of joy, okay?
And then you'll forget they exist. And that's when he said, success is the only revenge. He's like, it's not the best revenge. He's like, it's the only one. There's no...
And without success, there is no revenge. Without pain, there is no pain. Without agony, there is no agony, okay? Which is why success is the only revenge.
no other revenge. Because everything else is petty. Everything else does show that you were thinking about these people all day long, which means they win by default. He's like, all you can do is think about your goal and winning. He's like, and when you win, that's when you become so big that they shrink into irrelevance. You cast a shadow that no one even can see them behind you.
A painful realization that the small number of good friends want you to win in case you take them with you, and the large number of bad friends are scared of you winning in case you leave them behind.
The best way to know who a real friend is how they react when you win. And when that happens, you'll realize how few real friends you really have. Have you heard?
Because the success of friends and what they say after your success, then you might never know what you are truly going through.
The story of the pottery class? Oh. The other class that came, but the quality, the biggest, try to be lucky and pick the one perfect thing and try and make it, but
trying to make the one perfect thing and try to make it as far as you can make it.
if you don't want to try and be lucky, you can just do so much work that you will brute force your way to figuring it out. Like if you do 1,000 podcasts, you'll be pretty good at podcasts, right? But if you try to say, okay, you're brand new, and all you have to do is make one perfect podcast. The problem is that you don't have the perspective from which to make a judgment to say what is good, because you have zero data to base anything off of. And so you're basing your idea of a perfect podcast on something that you've literally never done before. And so doing the volume gives you the perspective to then have the best podcast at number 1,000 or 1,001.
There's a Tim Cook internal memo that he sent. There's a saying that if you do what you love, you will never work a day in your life. At Apple, I learned that is a total crock. You will work harder than you ever thought possible, but the tools will feel light in your hands.
You don't want to get behind. If you're in a business, here's what I tell people. If there's a 36-month countdown, that sounds crazy, but in the next 3 to 10 years, there's going to be more change happening in humanity than we've seen in all of our lifetimes, and then some. But in the next 36 months is the most. If you don't have these tools, you're going to fall behind. You may not be out of business, but you're certainly not going to thrive. And if you're going to more than survive, this is a set of tools you've got to have for yourself, especially if you're a small business or a medium-sized business, or you're just somebody who's thinking, I want better quality of life. You got to know these tools, and we'll show them to you. And there's no charge. It's not partially free. It's totally free. We're here to over-deliver for you, as we've always done. I think people will be blown away by what they're going to learn in just 3 hours, a couple hours a day. That's all it is.
So good.
Chef's kiss. Chef's kiss, Tim Cook.
Almost every successful person that I have ever encountered has gone through not a month or a year, but many years of doing work without reward, where they have to do things that other people find boring, and they have to sacrifice things that everyone finds interesting, that most people want to do during that entire season of their life. And they basically sacrifice a season of other things that they would prefer to do stuff that they would not prefer to do because of the one thing they want most.
Lazy people don't know how to start. Weak people don't know how to finish. Successful people don't know how to stop. People demand success, but refuse to work weekends. People want opportunity, but won't talk to strangers. People claim ambition, but sleep in every day. We are the result of our actions, not our aspirations.
The world belongs to optimists. Because if you're going to do anything big, you have to believe that it can happen. Otherwise, it never will.
That Sean Puri thing. The cynics get to be right and the optimists get to be rich.
Yeah. Like, if you look at it from a percentage of success rate, I've been wrong more times than I've been right. I have failed more times than I've succeeded. But you always succeed more and are right more in the big ways than the people who've been right all along and are wrong. Trevor says this, my editor. He says 99% right and 100% wrong. So like they're right 99% of the time, but they're wrong 100% because the only thing that matters is the big one at the end. Like your family and friends will say that every girl that you ever date is not good enough, except for the one time you find the girl that you're actually going to marry, and then it doesn't matter. Or like this won't last, or like this business idea, it's not going to work. And you might have 9 failures, I felt my first 9 businesses didn't really amount to anything. 9. As in the first one, spent time, failed. Second one, this one will be different, failed. Third one, this is the one. And then 6 more after that, right? I'm just painting this picture because like, it's painful because the whole time everyone is telling you, I told you so, and they're right. Today. But not forever. And so I'm at her parents' house, like in an extra bedroom, having lost everything. And my one Hail Mary play of this launch, the money did not come through. And I was like, I think you should leave me. I think I am a sinking ship right now. And I would respect you. Like, we're cool if you want to walk away. Like, we're good. Like, I won't think less of you. Like, I would walk away from you right now because this has a very high likelihood of not going right. And she pulled my chin towards her and she was like, I would sleep with you under a bridge if it came to that.
How did she change you?
She has brought out the absolute best in me. Like in just about every way. Like,
this is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting in the zone and staying there, that feels more like luck than something you can control. So that's why we made Brain FM. It's like a do not disturb setting for your mind, and it gets you focused in just 5 minutes. Using science and sound, Brain FM guides your brainwaves into an optimal state for productivity.
Didn't think we were gonna go here. She believed in me. And I think that's what most guys want. Truly. At least for me, that's what I want. Or needed.
There's no perfect way to live your 20s. You either live them up and become an underskilled 30-year-old, or you work them up and become an underlived 30-year-old. You just have to figure out which you'd rather be.
I would rather be a workaholic. That's me personally. So if you want to live your 20s jacking off, not doing what you want to do, not doing with your dreams, not accomplishing your goals and accomplishing whatever it is you're trying to do, without knowing what you are truly trying to become, what you're truly trying to state, then you may never know where this life will lead you to.
Accept the trade-offs and know that there are no do-overs.
There are more people that I have met in my life who are dissatisfied by their live it up 20s than dissatisfied by their work it up 20s. Because most of the time in your 20s, you have no idea what you want. But knowing what you need to do to work and move ahead is fairly straightforward. And so you can take the known and make progress on the one that you have high confidence that you can make progress on. And then along the way, gain perspective on what are the things that are actually important to you in your life. And you may find out often that there are far fewer of those things than you really originally thought. Because what you thought live 'em up in your 20s was actually your mom and your 2 homies who are both mediocre, and you don't care about their opinion now when you're 30 anyways. But what a waste of a life it would have been to, quote, live up your mom's dream or your friend's dreams to then only get to your 30s and realize you didn't live it up and you also didn't work it up. And now you have neither.
Stop complaining about the results you didn't get from the work you didn't put in. The only way to become more successful than most people is to be willing to do something most people aren't willing to do.
Charlie Munger, in one of his seminal speeches, he talks about how to guarantee failure, how to make sure that you are a failure. And he inverts the concept of success. It's like, what could you do to make sure that you were a failure? It's like, well, you would definitely get involved in drugs, drinking. He says, was it leverage, liquor, and women? That's, the Charlie's big one, right? But one of the ones that he has, I think he has 7 in his speech, is consistency. He's like, you have to make sure that you're inconsistent.
Because if you're not consistent, then you may never know where this dream, where this life, where this reality will believe. Which means if you have no idea where this life will lead you to, then that's the point of what will happen within your 20s. If you're very inconsistent with what you do and what you say, then there's no point to continually making that ball forward.
He's like, because if you are consistent and you have none of the other attributes, he's like, you still might be successful. He's like, it's very tough for people who are consistent to not be successful. And he makes an especially pointed point about consistency, because in my opinion, it's one of the most difficult of the virtues for humans to do, because we're so attracted to novelty. And so, like, I mean, I used to deal with this with, people on their diets all the time. I remember I ran gyms. And so someone would come in and I would always ask the question, so have you been following the meal plan? And then they would say, yes. And so then I started changing the way I asked the question. So I'd say, out of the 21 meals that you were supposed to eat, how many of the 21 did you have exactly the way it was on the meal plan? And then they would be like, oh, I mean, at least half. And they would say it as though that was a mark of success. And right now, the meal plan could be your content plan. It could be your showing up to work on time plan. It could be the time that you want to put towards your side hustle. It doesn't really matter. But if there's one muscle that you can flex, it's learning to do the same thing over and over again. Like one of the values that we had.
Because when you learn to do the same thing over and over again, it becomes repetition, it becomes easy and not hard, okay?
Gym lunch is do the boring work, because boring is what makes you rich.
No one cheers you for not drinking for a day, not smoking on a long drive, or not overeating for one night. No single workout or meal is ever impressive on its own. The reason so few people understand success is consistency never looks impressive in the moment, only at the end.
For me, my thoughts about what I thought I was were actually really negative. But when I tried to think, okay, well, I can be patient if I act patient, even if I don't feel patient. And then that allowed me to start giving myself a stack of undeniable proof that I am who I wanted to be. And I don't believe in binary traits, meaning like he's patient or he's impatient, or he's loyal or he's disloyal. It's the question is, how loyal are you? How honest are you? How patient are you? And by switching the character traits that I wanted to have into progressions or continuums, allowed me to make progress on them simply by giving myself more proof, or one more penny on the scale that says I'm a little bit more patient than I was. I'm a little bit more patient. I'm a little bit more patient, to the point where I have so many pennies on the scale that I can say, I think I am pretty patient. Even though every time I put a penny on the scale, I don't want to put a penny on the scale. I want to get the thing to happen today. I want it to happen yesterday, because why is it taking so long? It didn't take that long for this person. I feel like I work harder than them, and I feel like I'm better than them. Why am I not doing that? But put the penny on the scale.
Well, ultimately, what is patience? Is patience feeling patient, or is patient doing the thing that is patience? So Sam Harris, in his first conversation with Jocko Willink about 10 years ago, they talk about how courage is an unfakeable emotion. And it's such a good frame. You're going to love this. Yeah. So he said, if you do the thing in spite of being fearful of doing the thing, that is courage. And if you don't do the thing, even though you felt like doing the thing, that is cowardice. And I think that motivation and patience are exactly the same. If you're patient, despite not feeling patient, that is patience.
Yes.
That is how it works.
And that realization that you just said was the reason for that quote, because it was me realizing that I can actually have these traits, even if I don't feel like I live those traits.
Judge yourself by your actions, not by your thoughts. I became significantly less disappointed in myself when I started judging myself only on the actions I took, not the thoughts I had.
Layla says this, and I love it, but that fear is a mile wide and an inch deep. And so it looks like this ocean that you're going to step into and drown. But as soon as you step into it, you realize it was not that deep at all, and you can keep walking through it. And I just love that visual, because a lot of times when it's like we have this anxiety around this big decision we have to make, if you actually take the step and realize that it's not death, you're not going to drown immediately. There's plenty of other steps you can take from there, even if you get a little wet.
You're going to lose sleep. You'll doubt whether it'll work. You'll stress to make ends meet. You won't finish your to-do list. You'll wonder whether you made the right call and have no way to know for years. This is what hard feels like, and that's okay. Everything worth doing is hard, and the more worth doing it is, the harder it is. The greater the payoff, the greater the hardship. If it's hard, good. It means no one else will do it.
No one else will do it, and nobody else will follow. When nobody else follows, then you know that you can be more, that you can achieve more, that you can say more, okay?
More for you.
Because in the early days, hard was, ooh, stop. This isn't good. I should, this is a warning sign. This is a red flag. I should slow down, or I should stop, I should pivot. But the more I think about it as a competitive landscape, as I'm clear on what this path is supposed to look like, and these rocks and these dragons are things that I'm going to have to slay along the way to get the princess or get the treasure, I get happier about the harder it is because I know that no one else will follow.
It's a selection effect.
And I think if you can shift from this is hard to no one else will be able to do this, then it flips from being this thing that you're like, oh, poor me, to oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to try.
Yeah.
And I think that is so much more motivating as a frame for the exact same circumstance.
An easy productivity hack: instead of spending time getting in the mood to work, just start working. Confront the work. People think they need perfect conditions to start, when in reality, starting is the perfect condition. What have you got to lose?
Exactly. And that was it. And it was like, I have nothing to lose. And that was when I think in the last podcast we talked about this, where it's like, if everybody who's like at the bottom and feels like they have nothing going for them, reframe that as, I have nothing going for me, which also means that I have nothing to lose by taking action, it makes you a much more dangerous person. And I think that was the flip that I've had repeatedly shown to me in my life that allowed me to take the step that I was afraid to take.
Have I told you about the region beta paradox? Have you seen that one? Okay, so this is interesting. So imagine that you had to go a mile or less, and if you did...
A mile?
A mile.
Okay.
If you had to travel a mile or less, you would walk it. And if you had to go more than a mile, you would drive it.
Okay.
So paradoxically, you would go 2 miles quicker than you would go 1 mile. If you follow that rule, the important insight here is that if you only take action when things cross a certain threshold of badness, sometimes better things can feel worse than worse things.
You get absolutely better returns at the top ends of achievement, because oftentimes assets pool to the winners. The problem is, to achieve the highest levels, you have to give up proportional amounts of the things you hoped the achievements would get you. There comes a time when the hard work you have to do is learning that you can't work any harder any longer, and that you have to change what got you here to what will get you to where you want to go. You can work to get anything you want, but you have to sacrifice the other things you want to keep it, and that's sometimes harder than the work.
This is the entrepreneur life cycle until you learn how to break free from it. And so there are 6 stages.
Unformed optimism, which unformed optimism is where you feel optimistic, you feel like you are doing better than what other people are. 2, informed pessimism, which is informing ourselves that we are trying to get better, that we are trying to do more. Crisis of meaning, and when you also have a crisis of purpose, if that makes sense. Crash and burn is where your dreams and your goals and your realities fall short. And an informed optimism is where you bounce back, where you learn from it. And number 6, achievement, when you achieve the goal that you think that will happen. Okay?
You have stage 1, which is uninformed optimism. This is where you see your friend or you see something online and it looks like they're making money, or it looks like there's some opportunity, and you
looks like that there's some opportunity of making money or changing your friend or seeing your friend make money. Which I've seen my friend make money on TikTok, and he makes $5 or whatever the hell just because he hit a certain percentage of views. And I'm like, I know that's possible for me because I think I make very good content, which I do make very good content. So
think, oh my God, that sounds amazing. And you have optimism because it looks great, but it's uninformed because you have no idea what it entails. So then you dive in and you say, okay, I'm going to pursue this thing, whatever is it, baking cupcakes, or I'm going to do lawn mowing, or I'm going to do crypto trading, whatever. Second step is you get into it and you're like, oh my God, I don't know. There's so many things involved in this, and this is significantly more complicated than I expected. So then you become an informed pessimist. You now know that it's hard, or significantly harder than you expected.
Now you know that it's hard, or significantly harder to what to expect, because your expectations and your realities are different than your vision, your dream, and your goal. Okay?
The third stage is you have your crisis of meaning, or the valley of despair. So you're continuing to do this stuff, it's continuing to not work, and you keep working, and it keeps not working. And so this is the step, and this is the point of truth. And this is the cycle where the paths of the entrepreneur split. And the vast majority of people take this next step, which is they then say, you know what? There's that thing over there that my other friend's doing, maybe I should do that instead. And so then they hop back to uninformed optimism, and then they go boom to informed pessimism, and they just go around and around and around, and they live the same 6 months for 20 straight years. Now, the other path of from the valley of despair is sticking with it. And so then,
And when you stick with it, you become more of yourself, more of the dream, more of the reality that will happen. Okay?
you become an informed optimist, because now you understand, you still understood all the bad stuff, but you also understand the good stuff and how to avoid the bad and maximize the good. And then once you're there, you stick on that path long enough and you end up achieving what you originally thought was really easy and fast.
The biggest risk to your future isn't your competition, it's the distractions you insist on keeping.
It's not your competition, it's the distractions that you keep on insisting to keep living your life. Don't let the distraction, don't let the criticism, don't let the belief of other people downgrade your version of success, okay?
In your life, rather than doing the things you know you should be doing but aren't. People delay doing things they don't like for longer than it takes to do them.
I don't deserve to be that man, but I can still do the things that can create it. And that also means that I have to go through the circumstances that would create that man, which means that if I have unbelievable big dreams and big goals, then I have to go through hard times. It's like hate. The hard times are a requisite for success. And so if you're going through hard times right now, it means that you're on the path to success, and it's not that you're on the wrong path, it's the feeling of being on the right path.
The bar for excellence has never been so low. Most of your competition quits after the first sign of difficulty because they've never known what hard feels like. If it's hard for you, it's hard for everyone. And most people avoid hard things, which is why you can beat most people.
Hello.
Do you want to play with me?
Sure. You want me to help you with your groceries?
Yeah.
This journey with childhood cancer comes at you in waves. Every day we wake up knowing that our 2-year-old has cancer. It's tough to get through.
By just trying.
This will be really good. This will be nasty for the people who are listening at home. So, learning means same condition, new behavior.
Same condition, new behavior. Without doing the same condition, you create a new behavior, okay?
So, phone rings, you answer the phone, you say ABC. I say, cool, read this script instead that says DEF. Phone rings, same condition. You say DEF, you have learned. Same condition, new behavior. Intelligence is rate of learning. It's speed. It's a measurement of speed.
Rate of learning is speed. Without speeding through the rate of learning or the learning of one other, then you may never know what this life will lead you to.
And so it means how many times do you need to be exposed to the same condition in order to change your behavior? If I teach someone something, that script, and then on the first try they say DEF, and someone else, it takes 5 tries for them to say DEF, they are not as intelligent as the first person. Here's why this is interesting. Every person who's listening to this right now has listened to 1,000 podcasts, and they're in the exact same condition, and yet they have not changed their behavior, which means 1, they have not learned, and 2, they are dumb. Every time you watch or you consume a piece of content, or you read a book, if you think, what behavior am I going to change as a result of this? If the answer is nothing, you wasted your time.
Which means don't waste your time, don't waste your energy, don't waste your persistence doing other things that you know you could be doing, okay?
And you pretended to be learning, but you were really entertaining yourself.
Not to piss off the positive polys in the room, but if you haven't gotten what you want, then you're not worthy of it, period. And that's okay. Now you can admit that you suck and improve. Better to know you're bad for a season than pretend you're good for a lifetime. You're not making as much money as you want because you're not as good as you think you are. You're not struggling from imposter syndrome. You're a student and pretending to be a teacher. No students say they feel like frauds for trying to learn. You're a fraud when you get up to teach the class, and you've never done it.
For me, I was more miserable trying to make everyone else happy than I am now with everyone else unhappy with me. I would rather...
I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, stay unique, stay you. Like and save to come back to this video. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you know whenever I post, and I'll see you guys in the next one.